Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Frontline. Welcome back to the FPL. Welcome back to In the Trenches. Welcome back to Scott and BeerMe hosting the show. Yeah, so, BeerMe. We did an episode last week. Nobody saw it.
Right.
Yeah. Technical difficulties are a joy to behold. The headset that I'm holding in my hand is the problem. The microphone stopped registering, and I tested this on everything. I took it into work where I could plug it in there as well. It simply would not work right. The earphones sounded great. I've gone through 3 other setups now since then, and today got this headset, and it has the proper setup for the microphone. It is very good. It is working well. The Turtle Beach one down here is awesome audio, but the mic isn't that great. And then the big mic over here is a little too soft. So I made this freaking work. But thank you for joining us on FPL In the Trenches, the show where now we've not hosted every episode because CT filled in for us, BeerMe. That's a bit weird because he hates Frontline in like kayfabe, and he actually put a big slant on that. It was pretty funny, actually. I did enjoy that, but I'll freely admit I didn't watch it all because it was heartbreaking to go through the footage and watch it and hear me talking kind of like this and nobody can really hear me, and then you talk normally like this and it's fine, then it's back to me. Like it's it was a great one because we predicted stuff and we had it. It's so good. Maybe it's uploaded. Maybe I'll make it live at some point just for people to be like, look, this is how bad it was. Yeah, it was horrible. It really, really bummed me out big time. The BeerMe can attest to. I've apologized profusely to him for that, for feeling like wasting his time, ruining an episode, all this stuff. It's, you can't take that back. So thank you again, BeerMe. I'll spin it over to you. How are you doing today and last week? Because nobody knows. How are you doing?
I'm doing a lot better. I was feeling a little rough yesterday after I got my vaccine shot, but I'm doing good today. Good.
Yes. For those paying attention, we are the co-hosts of FPL In the Trenches. It is Frontline League. I almost said pod, but that's where I'm going to get to. Frontline League on Twitter. It is the Frontline Prediction League here on YouTube. Like, favorite, subscribe, all that fun stuff. We're also on Top of the Card podcast, Top of the Card pod on Twitter. It's on Spotify and all your favorite streaming. New episode of that is coming up, and you'll learn there that all the creative team plus BeerMe has gotten COVID shots, except the Canadian, because, we're going into lockdown. So have fun with WrestleMania with all the people in it. We're still locking down up here in Canada, so I know you're none of us are big fans of the fact that people are opening up, but it's like it's not over. Like
right,
now that said, we are mimicking the shows with our shows. Like I've got Ring of Honor here, and we mimic that with our write-ups. But when we do WrestleMania, we're going to have fans in the audience for our WrestleMania, which that's kind of exciting to do too, I think. What do you think on that, BeerMe, about replicating that?
It is pretty exciting because it's been too long since we've had fans in a write-up. Yeah. So it'll be different.
To be fair, we did have them kind of like the PC wrestlers in the takeovers, and we had a Revolution with like limited fans, but a full-on, well, not full-on crowd. It's still minor. We're not UFC or anything here, but with a minor crowd, or at least minor capacity, it should be some fun stuff. I'm looking forward to it, but before we get to WrestleMania, we got to get through Ring of Honor. So let's jump in. Ring of Honor, which we call just ROH or Ring of Honor 2021, because calling it anniversary doesn't make sense because it's not our anniversary. We're not going to call it 19th anniversary when it's the first one. It's a whole numbering thing. I went into it last time. It's lost to time. Here it is. This was an interesting show. We talk about it in full detail on Top of the Guard podcast, so if you want to hear our actual thoughts on the actual show, it's over on that. But this one, our show, you guys were involved as well, BeerMe, with FBU and Simple Creatures and OVS, because the prior show, to get the WrestleMania War Games advantage, it was JJ Rocky, Roman Pierce, and Bastion. The winner would get the War Games advantage for the War Games match, except we had a draw, no contest situation with Pierce and Rocky. So Bastion's out, and these two had their rematch, and Roman Pierce won.
Yeah, he did.
What happened? Why don't we have to bet on the creatures, right? We're supposed to bet on JJ. What happened?
Man, hey, Roman Pierce has been doing really well. Maybe it's, I don't know. Maybe it's time that we start looking at OVS a little bit more. You know what I mean? Like giving them put a little respect on their name.
It is absolutely something that I've been excited about ever since their debut, to be like the big faction, the bigger threat for everybody, and it's holding true. And it's not at the expense of others; it's just in front of others. I do really like that. So the fact that he got that win over JJ, we'll talk about what happened afterwards at the end of our little discussion here, but that's huge. That's getting a WrestleMania advantage, and that is going to go a long way, I believe. I think that means you guys are like last in that set, right? Because we technically needed to know the 1, 2, 3 with the 3-team war games, right? So yeah, you guys are kind of at the end of that in its own way. So how are you feeling about that now? Like, do you even have your order of entry yet for you guys? Are you calculating what they're going to do now that you know when they'll be in, or?
We got our order.
You do? Okay. Doesn't matter what they're doing. It's your plan. That's the way to go.
That's how we kind of got to go. I mean, we're already kind of in a hole, so we just got to do what we do, and
you got to win the match that matters, and you know that better than anyone, don't you? Yeah. That's a big one. That was a fun one. Writing that was also interesting because I haven't really written much for Roman Pierce yet, aside from some Rumble stuff. So to get his character in there with JJ, who's always fun, was a blast. Speaking of writing matches, Scott and the Midnight Rider, the Outsiders, teaming for the first time since I think the summer back in the JRPL, defeating Cam and Ralintando, the Canadian Championship contenders, Cam and Ral, just a short format to make it easier to say, versus an American contender, the Midnight Rider, who again should have, like, either he or McKennedy would have won that match, and that would have been it, right? But we had to do a rematch. So I'm the odd man out.
Right.
Lee's going for a title, and so are those two. It guaranteed one of our opponents will be champion, unless they draw. We did just have that. But Lee is 50-50 on getting it. I got my bets on him. And then me, who doesn't even have a WrestleMania match yet. But we won.
Yeah, you did get the win.
We won.
You did get the win.
Except this being a Ring of Honor show, which is a house show by how we operate here at the FPL, it doesn't really matter. In a way, let's be clear there. It does work towards story momentum and beats you can have, and it's fun stuff like that. But people can make matches and set them up, like the next one, CT and Costner. You can kind of set up matches and run with it to have some funsies. But the wins and losses don't matter. So that said, Cam and Ral went in with differing opinions because they're opponents later on, and they actually wanted to team and face a team here before they were the Canadian contenders, which is just a fun fluke. So the fact that they're actually both going for it is pretty great. But Ral didn't even want to tag in. He was just conducting away, didn't give a damn, and then laid down not wanting to face either of us. Yeah, we know who the heel is for their match, at least, but that was never like winning like that, but you do that with Lee and I, we'll take the win.
Right. Hey, a win's a win.
You can't get it. You can't hand Lee the belt. He wants to win it, but you can hand us a win. We'll take it.
Momentum. That's all you need.
Now, speaking of momentum, Jonathan did not slide CT Martin, defeated James Costner in a death match with the lovely scores of -9 to -21.
Right. Yeah. It's pretty bad. I mean, it's not as bad as somebody else's score that we'll get to later, but
we'll get there. We'll get there. You know, yeah. That's one of the more epic ones. Yeah. CT reversed the course of the slide, and it's against Costner. So there's two veterans going at it. So I like seeing that win being pulled out there. Smooth Rock beating RGX. RGX has had some troubles. This was a match where it's a couple guys that needed to get a win to kind of get back on course. And Smooth Rock got it, so good on him. 18-12 on a 10-match card is actually still pretty close. Like I always say, one match could have swung that. Two of them could have destroyed. So RGX has had a rough time, but I know RGX doesn't really know Ring of Honor to his defense. Like, it's not even really available in the UK. So there's only so much you can do with stuff like that. And that's why these ones don't matter to people. So that doesn't affect him in any way in the standings. It's just like, ow.
I like how Sebastian Escobar came out at the end of that match, though.
Yeah, I like what's going on with him. It's
good stuff.
I did say this on the last one, so I'm going to repeat some things as it comes to mind. But the idea that he's like second runner-up, silver medal, which is not a bad thing, but it's not first, right?
Exactly. If you're not first, you're last.
Yeah, the fact that he leaned into that with his own promos is pretty great. That's something that we just kind of ran with when he started being number 2, and I made that with the match from Fastlane. So the fact that he's running with that is great. If people have ideas for character stuff like that you want to run with, be it with the James Black thing where I had him saying, "You'll remember my name," right? Or with even Rate Wrestle, his finisher, a submission move, is called the window pane. Like, and that's just because I had them leaving the restaurant and he put him through the window, barbershop, quartet style. Like, it just happens to be. So if anybody has ideas like that, go for it. You can talk to GMSG and BeerMe about silly names for things. They're great at that. I help them. It's awesome. So please give us ideas, because it does inform us, and use the character chat in the Discord as well. And if you don't know what we're talking about, go to the Discord, check it out. Lots of fun stuff in there. Lots of promos. Lots of video promos. BeerMe, they're so good.
Yeah.
They're always good.
They are.
Lee's American one was still one of my favorites. It was just ridiculous.
Yeah, that one was really good.
We lost this from a recording, but Rab cut a promo on me.
He did.
Right?
He did. He has a face.
He beat me. It's rough. It's not the face, but the fact that I lost to him. Oh, I hate it. I hate it. I hate it so bad. So, we gotta move on. Spinks, new guy. I'm going to keep saying that, even if he's been here like 6 months, he's still a new guy comparatively. Beat CM Carlito, veteran. See, that's why I say it. That's a big win.
Yeah.
I had a SummerSlam title defense against CM Carlito, and it was tough. He's a tough one to get around. He's always kind of there, always kind of present, always a threat. So the fact that Spinks got him, very good. That's early onset of establishing yourself. So I like seeing that. That's good. That's good. What's not as good is Ash and Rate Wrestle going to a no contest. Not great for Ash. Great for Rate Wrestle.
Yeah.
But, again, it's a Ring of Honor show, so it doesn't matter. But still, we look at that and go, okay, the main event of WrestleMania just went to a no contest with Rate Wrestle. Interesting. I wonder what else might happen if we do that match in other ways, right? So, doesn't mean we are for sure, but it immediately gets you going, okay, yeah, interesting. Now you mentioned it. Lexi Briggs defeated CJ Hawk and the Arbiter in a death match. The scores were 12, -3, and -39.
I don't think that's very good.
What happened?
The Arbiter died. But I mean,
it's a death match, so you do get negative points for your wrong answers, but that's like all of them. Because you look at the positive scores, Detrick Cyrus had 38 and he won with that. Payne and McKennedy, title contender people, were 37 and 35. That means that the Arbiter, if he got everything wrong, got more than that. So if he got anything right, he was still that wrong.
Yeah.
Should we dwell on that or just move on to the next one?
I found it weird at the end of the match where Lexi was like, Death Money Inc., you're hired, and then just left. Yeah, so we'll see where that goes, but... Yeah,
there's some doings afoot. Ring of Honor is the place, and house shows are the place to do some stories like that, and it's kind of like a place to get some extra stuff in. So, yeah, it's intriguing to see where that goes. Like I said, though, Payne beat Alexander McKennedy by 2 points, and it's on my screen as well. Red beat Tino by, I thought it was 1 point at first when I saw it, but it's actually by like 9. 33-24. So there's a bit of a difference there, but Payne beat McKennedy. McKennedy's been on a roll. 2-point loss is nothing to sneeze at, especially at this point. And he went that close to beating the main event at WrestleMania. Again, very, very good. That's the way to go. And if he keeps that up, he could have the American title in his hands in a week. I'll be honest. I'd like either of those guys to be the champ. I would have liked it if it was Rate Wrestle or Jace.
Right.
I wouldn't mind any of them. That is from the booking side of things. I like all of those guys. I like Cam and Ralentendo for the Canadian. But I really want Lee to win. I really do.
Right.
But
kind of, yeah.
I can't not. But McKennedy is the first American champion. That's cool. Mm-hmm. That's really cool.
Right.
I do like that a lot because it's kind of why we went with it when we did, is to get things going because he had ideas for hardcore character stuff. And we're like, well, you're in line. Let's go. Let's start it. So, yeah. Red beat Tino, like I said. Josh Dionio beat LJ. Bastion beat Wookie. So Bastion got redemption. 45-14, by the way, for Bastion.
Mm-hmm.
Holy crap. Let's keep with those numbers. Broken Nerd, 48. He beat you and Monkey Bong.
You
had 45 as well, which is also incredible, but it's not Broken Nerd.
I know it's so demoralizing to have tied for the second highest score of the night and you lose.
Yeah, you would have tied Bastion, and you would have beaten everybody else. But you lost to Broken Nerd, who would have beaten quite literally anybody else on the card with that score.
Mm-hmm.
And then Monkey Bong had 15. I mean, he would have.
I know we couldn't even get.
So.
Right, that's true. We couldn't even get match of the night. We had 2 of the highest scores of the night. We couldn't get match of the night. Dang, Monkey Bong.
What did you think of that match? Like that on this stage, that threesome of a match.
It wasn't bad.
When you saw that getting booked, though, you're like, you look at your opponents, and you see that name, and you see that name.
Well, it was a big contrast right there of names. But yeah, at one point I was like, oh, I feel good about this, and then all of a sudden I was like, I don't feel good about this, and then we already know what happens in ROH, so we don't have to go over that. But
yeah, we talk about actual ROH stuff on the podcast. You'll hear that in a little bit.
Yeah. But congrats to Broken Nerd. I mean, it's Terminator, so can't really get too upset.
He's got a date with Destiny, doesn't he, coming up? We'll talk about the Mania card in a little bit, but yeah, he's got some upcoming interesting stuff. Speaking of OVS, they won again. Jason Blades and Casey Warden beat the Simple Creatures, the greatest tag team I've ever seen, Modstep and Chappers. Holy crap. Like you said, OVS needs to be taken seriously. Yeah, they do. Because their momentum is unreal right now.
Yeah. 100%.
Are you worried at all? Because you've dealt with the Creatures before, and you've come up short with OVS. But the Creatures are being a threat, but both you guys are having trouble with OVS. So maybe forces combined to take out the bigger threat?
Right. I mean, never know. I mean, we're at the biggest disadvantage, so we'll weigh our options when it comes.
That's true. At least you've got some momentum because GMSG did defeat Luke Gray, 44-36. Chef Urban beat Buckend 5. Kurt Cult beat Blue Monkey G. I do believe Blue Monkey's had some rough stuff there.
Kurt got his first win, man.
He did. That's
happy for him.
That's pretty much what that match was. Glorious Viper beat Bane the Bissa, and Skylar Cross beat Ace High. Ace High has had some rough scores, let's be honest, and he got 20 this time, which is good, but it's no 37 like Skylar. Very, very good score for him. Overall, we've got some achievements, 5 appearances, win your first match. Like you said, there's Kurt Cult. Viper and Skylar got their firsts. Bastion with his 5th FPL match. That's a big one. I think he's the first one to get that, actually, because no one else has had enough. Unless they're perfect, which I don't think anybody is a perfect 5-0 from day one. He's the first to get that one. Lexi Briggs and Broken Nerd both won triple threats. CT and Lexi also won death matches. The Rider and Casey Warden won tag matches. Yay, yay. And GMSG and Luke had match of the night. So you didn't get match of the night, but GMSG did. So
so we got a little bit of momentum.
A bit. Now, The kickoff show results are here. Please go into our Discord. You can go in there and find results. You can read the write-ups here. Full disclosure, Ring of Honor gets a little less on the write-ups, but we also sometimes have a little more fun with it. It's always a weird thing for me to describe that, but they don't mean as much, but that lets us cut a little more loose. Not that we wouldn't do crazy stuff on the main shows. I mean, you'll see some of the upcoming WrestleMania matches and get an idea what we're going to do. But, it doesn't matter, but everything does matter in its way, right? That's a fair way to put it, I'd say. But go read. Go read. Go read. Just in general, go read. Reading's good. But we do put a lot of work into these. There's the Arbiter. Actually, Arbiter's with an open challenge, by the way. That's part of where that came from. Ash and Right Wrestle.
Should have answered it.
You should have. You might have had a better night.
Right.
But at the end, Beer Me, we have Insanity because JJ and Roman Pierce kept fighting, and OVS came out, and then so did the Creatures, and so did you guys, and Insanity happened from there with the War Games WrestleMania brawl.
Yep.
Now, Red came out to stop that. Red is the general manager, and got dropped, and then the brawl continued. And I mean, you don't do that while I'm around, so I got involved, and then so did Lee. He came out, and then so did McKennedy because Lee was there, and then Kier 1 joined in because he was going after Jace, and it got nuts. I mean, the full disclosure here is I just wanted to have it. We wanted to have everybody in the brawl, like a show closing brawl leading to Mania. And I think one of the more fun things about that was I didn't know any way to get Lucian Hollis out there, so I decided Lars was like, go. Make an example. And that brought out Nerd. And then things went because JD still had issues and.
Yep.
And then
that's good stuff.
Then, of course, cutting to the back where like CT's like, nah, I'm not doing it. And then more fighting happened, and it kept going. Death Money, just watching it as well, it was a lot of fun. And probably my favorite part, I know I just said one part, but was Ash and Payne nose to nose, not fighting, right? Like seeing all that chaos, but they're like the top of it. They're the top of the card, pointing at the sign. I like the juxtaposition of that. Like they're all fighting for it, but these guys already have that.
Exactly.
I really, really like that. And that was last minute. I was like, oh, I know what to do. Who's not going to do it? Who's going to stare each other down? The main event, of course. So that was interesting. That was a lot of fun. Please go read that write-up. Give us your ideas for write-ups. Give us your ideas and comments on this stuff. Let us know what you think, what you want to see, what you don't like. Please let us know. A lot of fun in there. I saw that part where Matt hit me with a chair. I got to do something about that. But WrestleMania. WrestleMania is where we are going. It is our next show. The way we do our picks, just so everybody knows, because again, I went into this detail last time. The deadline is 1 hour prior to the pre-show, the buy-in, the kickoff, hour 1, whatever they call it. And if it's Ring of Honor, usually it's 8 o'clock, so our deadline's 7. If it's WWE, it's normally 7 o'clock, meaning the pre-show's at 6, meaning our deadline's at 5. If it's NXT, we've had it where the pre-show was like 6:30, so our deadline's 5:30. We operate with that. And AEW burned us because Fight said it was 7 o'clock for the pre-show, but they themselves said 7:30, so we had to adjust it. WrestleMania, as far as we know, is going to have a 1 hour kickoff on each. It might end up being an hour and a half. We don't know yet, but the main show started at 8, so extrapolate out of there. We're looking at probably an hour-long pre-show at 7, meaning the deadline is 6. But if they end up changing it, since I say these words right now, Thursday night, April 1st, which is not April Fool's, I'm being serious here, it's an hour before the official kickoff. The official one. Not what Fight says, but what Impact says, or what AEW says, or what WWE says. So WWE always does have a thing about how you can watch it and there's the bump and all this other stuff. It's going to be based on that. Not even the Peacock time listing. It's going to be whatever the broadcast WWE people say. So there you go. And on that note, we're not doing TakeOver. We've talked a lot about that one back and forth for multiple reasons as to why or why not. Because the main part of it is we don't do the TV specials like New Year's Evil or Halloween Havoc, or last year when TakeOver became TV episodes, or when Impact made Rebellion Impact episodes. That was last year, and that was extenuating, where we went, no, we just don't do TV. This year was looking a little different because of the whole 2-day thing, and day 2 is on Peacock, and it's like, that's TakeOver. It's just on Thursday. We looked in it as like a one-time thing to include both, to do it all in one, because that's the one thing we don't mimic. Our WrestleMania isn't 2 days. It's one, just because logistically it'd be a weird 2-day write-up because we're not releasing it that way. So we would do TakeOver as 1 day, but would we predict only the one or the half of it? Do we even do it? And we're not doing it. We kind of said no, we're not originally, and it became a case of like, do we after all? And it's not gonna work. Mostly now because of the timing of it, simply because it would be next week, right before Mania, and be Insanity. We looked at even doing the Impact specials on Impact Plus, same thing. But that means one of those shows is same day as WrestleMania. No. So we're just trying to be realists about this, Beer Me. Now, I know you've not been in those discussions much. Like, you've heard our kind of afterthoughts about those. But coming from the other side of things, I know you were interested in doing TakeOver. To be fair, so was I. But the logistics of it is just like, it's not going to work. If we can't do it, we're not going to do it just because, like, I'm putting quotes, we have to. We do try to and feel obligated to do it, but if this is not going to work, we kind of got to cut that cord. Right.
Right.
I presume you're disappointed a bit by this, though?
I mean, it's alright. I mean, it'll still be a great... You know, I like to just predict everything, so... But...
Same.
But the pay-per-view will be killer, so and I won't really have to be stressed out watching it. I can just really enjoy it, so...
That is something was really fun about watching stuff from around Bound for Glory through TLC, where we had no predictions really, where we weren't the ones doing any kind of write-ups and whatnot. The team was just I know that, yes, there was LWPL, we've talked about that, but we weren't creating. It was like, oh, okay, good, this is cool, what do we got? Oh man, I'm glad I didn't predict this. Like, that was we said that for 4 months. Oh man, thank God I didn't predict that one. So it's going to be just able to watch a couple good shows. We're still going to be working on stuff, because I'll be working on the Frontline. We'll have that during that. Like, next week's Frontline with our Mania predictions will be freaking during that time frame. We're probably going to have a WrestleMania podcast as well to get up before then. Just logistically speaking, there's enough. There's a lot. So, but again, we heard you, is what I'm basically saying. We heard you. We looked at options. We looked at it. We didn't want to do it just because and then not have a reason for results, because it's a main show. It's TakeOver. But it was a thing, so we are aware of those things, and if people come to us and want us to do this stuff, we are not just shooting it down blindly without discussion. Believe me, we look at all the options, and to be honest, this one was close. We almost went, you know what? No, it's too late. It's too late. So, but WrestleMania, not too late. It's coming in like a week, Bear Me. This is insane. It doesn't feel like WrestleMania, does it? Or does it? What do you think?
I mean, it does. It feels like Mania. I'm gearing up towards it, you know.
Now, we'll talk the actual WrestleMania card next week on our podcast, Top of the Card Pod. Please follow us. But for us, do you feel the card, which we're going to go through here, and most of it has been revealed, do you feel that this card is WrestleMania, based on where we've come from the Rumble all the way through to now?
Yeah. I feel like it does, and I feel like every story, I mean, I've said this before, and people have agreed with me in the chat, I just feel like every story feels kind of like on the same level, like nothing really feels less than something else, it all feels important, and I really like that.
That means a lot. I actually hadn't heard that. That's pretty incredible, because that's our goal, always, is to make stuff cool. Yeah, but yeah, we want like the special ones to be a little more special, but it's... The best example, and this year's WrestleMania is probably a really great example, because Seth Rollins versus Cesaro, that could be just like the match at 9 o'clock on Raw, right? Or on whatever. Like, that doesn't need special, but something about it, like, yeah, they're making it matter. They're doing that, even though it doesn't have to. That is the attitude we go towards it. Not that we're just putting matches together that don't matter, but the ones that are on there, we looked at it and said, what's deserving of WrestleMania? How can we get there? What can we do with that? It's a bit of a booking perspective, and a bit of matchmaking, because with the booking side of things, yeah, we've got the story structured. Like, we've got SummerSlam stuff ready based on who comes out of this and where we're going to go from there, because there's the weaving through the other half of WrestleMania to the world title, that is. But there's also the matchmaking, because whomever wins is who gets there. Like, we can make the story be whatever we want, but if the right people don't win, we're not going to go with the same people, right?
Right.
Like, if they don't win, they don't win. So there's a little bit of UFC matchmaker about what storyline can go, and they're masters at it, because you might have an epic UFC match you want to watch, but neither of those guys make it, and you're watching these guys instead, but they still sell you that as, that's awesome. But wouldn't this be cool too when they keep that in there? Because what if that guy comes back and now you get there after all? So that's a bit of where we come from, because Payne and Ash, they earned it. They earned it. We could have said that we wanted to have it be me and you based on our epic history of Impact matches and stuff, and that's who we want. And then whatever happens, well, we ignore that because we didn't get the wins, but the story dictates it's Scott versus BeerMe. Hell no. Absolutely not. I would not allow that. I might be outvoted,
Right.
but actually, no, I wouldn't be outvoted. It'd be unanimous. No. The people who win get that, because as much as it's some matchmaking to get them there, because they're the actual winners of actual predictions that we can't control, the booking part of it is, well, it's based on the winners, and we booked the story from there. We saw going in what could happen. We knew this matchup, Payne versus Ash, was coming a while ago, around, the Chamber in February? So we've been able to set up matches since then. And if they win or lose, again, the story, BeerMe, you know this well, you got to win the one that matters. Maybe they're slacking, maybe they're lackadaisical. Oh, but then Payne gets the win. But Ash couldn't. Oh, what? Immediately, their own actions give us momentum of story. It is literally the definition of it writes itself, even though we do put a lot of work into it as well. So, now that said, we're going to look at the predictions itself for these matches. We're going to talk about that next week, and that's all we're going to talk about next week, just so people know here for In the Trenches. But we're going to run through these matches really quick, just to get everybody knowing what's coming up next. And if you go into the match bookings, you'll see all these yourself. You can click on the official theme song, the Rise Up by Ganyos. I think I'm saying that right. That is our official WrestleMania theme song. It's not licensed. It's just a thing. But the FPL World Championship qualifier, Payne versus Ash. The Royal Rumble winner versus the Elimination Chamber winner. The winner of this goes to SummerSlam to face the winner of some other things, which we'll get to. You've said you like this match, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're big Payne fans. Ash is always great. I love the two characters they've even picked for that. It's pretty awesome. This is going to be a good one. This is a tough question because it makes it almost sound like I'm questioning the merits or the level of others. But do you think that's the main event? Like that, when you see that, you're like, yeah, that fits. Because I do.
I'd say so.
Just to get that out there.
I'd definitely say so.
It does. I really like it. Now, do you think we should have had the title match by now, or do you think SummerSlam is the way to go? Because we've never asked you this one.
I think the way that you guys set it up, SummerSlam's fine.
Yeah. The goal there, I think I talked about this last time too, was you got to earn it. Like, I might have a 4-2 record, but I didn't win the ones that mattered. But when it comes to contendership down the line, maybe that's it. But by that point, maybe I'm 10-4, right? Maybe I face CT a whole bunch, and I'm 4-10 for all we know. It can happen. I said CT. I did it here. I do it all the time. I meant GMSG. I've started getting those names mixed up whenever I talk about them on top of the card in the past month. I've never done that before, and it's bugging me. I keep doing that. And they keep ragging me on it. I keep leaving it in because it's funny. GMSG's the one who beats me all the time. CT's never going to beat me. Who am I kidding? Thanks for filling in last week, by the way, CT. No, I love that main event. I really think it fits. It works well. And it's kind of funny how Payne's all caps for his, because that's how he writes it. And then Ash, small letters. It's funny. But now we've got the Canadian Championship, which is going to be Cam versus Ralentando. What do you think of these contenders? What do you think of these two for the Canadian title?
I think they've both been doing really well. I mean, besides the ROH show, they've both put on really good showings. I have no problem with it.
This one is a bit more, not quite pure rules if you follow Ring of Honor, but it's along those lines of a more streamlined, a more serious, a more pure wrestling thing. It's like the Canadian roots. When you think of the Canadian wrestlers, you got your Bret Harts, your Lance Storms, that kind of technical ability, which is what I based my character on, which is why I made the Canadian title.
I want that belt now.
Right? It's that that's the belt. That's our mid-tier belt. That's one of the mid-tier belts. So that's the mentality behind that one. It's not like it's submission matches. It's not like it's technical matches. It's nothing like that. But
Right.
it's just like it's none of that. It's straight up one-on-one in the ring rules. And like I said, one-on-one. So these contenders came from where they were, and I believe Cam beat Payne, or was it Ralentendo? I forget. But one of them beat Payne, so it's like, well, he's in. Because he beat right? So that's how he earned his way here. These guys earned their way there, not even knowing it, but just by virtue of what they were doing in the matches they had. So that one's exciting. The no-holds-barred death match. JD, Josh Dionio versus Vitamin, James Costner, who what, Bear Me?
Does not suck.
There we go. I set you up for that one a little quick. Sorry about that.
You're good.
This is a violent one. This is insane. This is a long time coming, and I love it. I think, if I remember correctly, there was actually a similar match back where I think it was, James Costner and Buck? And then that match fell through, which led to the rise of Ralentendo into a championship match at WrestleMania. Just to give you perspective on opportunity and people seizing it. So the fact that Costner is here now facing JD, and neither's for a title, this is for Pride with no holds barred, that's going to be really violent. Remember when Team No Chance was a thing? Oh, what happened? Well, we know what happened, but this seems like an unthinkable match, right? Just a few months ago?
Right, yeah. Kind of reminds you of Gargano and Ciampa a little bit.
It is. I didn't even think of that. That's a really good comparison. I like that a lot. That's going to be a good one. So I don't know who to pick on that one. We'll come to that next week. Here's one that you're familiar with, Beerme. War Games. Or, excuse me. War Games! There we go. I gotta do more like Regal. War Games! That's better. FBU, OVS, Simple Creatures. They don't have a three-letter thing, so they're the odd guys out. But OVS has had the advantage on damn near every moment it needs to be, and they won the actual advantage for the match, followed by the Creatures and then you guys. You've been winning it here and there and everywhere, but not in the big moments, but no one wins in the biggest moments like you. But the Creatures are, like, you don't bet against them. They're simply one of the best ever, but OVS is running roughshod like nothing we've ever seen. And put that in War Games. I shouldn't need to say any more to that to sell that. What do you think on this thing?
It's going to be a lot of carnage. Going to be good stuff.
You guys got your plans ready?
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, gonna need to, you know. We're definitely the underdog in this match.
Which, who would have thought that, right?
Right.
Three of the biggest faces of the old former JRPL. Quite literally. Two of them who had the final match, which was the greatest JRPL match of all time. For the title, Show 100. Teaming with one of the other guy who won more titles than anybody else. And you three, the underdogs. You want to talk about stories that write themselves. If you guys hadn't had the wins and losses that you had in those moments, that wouldn't even be a thing. And that just happens to be that way. Like, you're on the path of redemption, trying to prove you're still relevant. And that not that it's like, I know the one bit where they said you're has-beens. It's not quite that. But are you being passed already in your prime?
Right.
That's dangerous. That's real dangerous. And that's something that the Creatures will take advantage of. And then there's also OVS, who will take advantage of all of it. That's a big one. I'm excited for that match. But I'm not going to lie, Bear Me. I'm more excited for the American Championship. I'm sorry. Because that's where Lee, the Midnight Rider, is going to face Alexander McKennedy in a ladder match.
Oh, man, that's going to be good.
Yeah. And the graphic is incredible with James Storm I believe the Midnight Rider is the name of that, is who that is, but with ladders and that American title belt. I love that belt. It looks so good. It's all right. So the Canadian is the mid tier where it's the pure kind of stuff, right? The technicality, the straight up who's the better man. The American is the sister title equivalent, but it's a little different. Obviously, as you can see, it's a little more, I mean, shall we say, American compared to the nice Canadian. You want that one too, or do you rather the Canadian?
I like them all, but
Well, yeah.
can't have them all. I don't know. I think I'd rather have the Canadian, honestly. Okay. Well, I don't know. Either one's fine. Like, I don't really have a preference.
I absolutely love the idea of my character having that Stars and Stripes title, which I realize is a good name. The Stars and Stripes Championship is a good name too. But American counters Canadian very well. But God, I want Lee to win that. Oh, McKennedy, you're cool, but you're not Lee. Sorry. But then, it keeps getting crazy because we have an eye for an eye death match. Jace Blades versus Kier 1. Now, this has been going back since the Rumble and even beyond, but with Jace, do you think he's going to be distracted with the War Games stuff? Because this match is going to happen presumably before War Games. So he might not even be available to help in War Games. Not that he can, it's War Games, it's got the cage and everything, but he might literally be out of action and they might be distracted during that with this outcome. Exactly. Or riding high. What are you thinking on that one?
I mean, Jace loses. I mean, I don't think he'll be out there with just one eye, you know? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Tier 1's out for revenge. He's out for... Jace better be careful, you know?
Well, speaking of being careful, Full Moon Massacre Deathmatch. Broken Nerd versus Lucian Hollis. It's Terminator versus Werewolf.
Oh my God, it is.
It really is. Or like, implied on both sides, but still. What? Yeah, the king of the cinematic matches is back. Is what this is. That's what I know about it. I haven't written anything else about it, so I don't know anything else about it. But I love the idea that Broken Nerd is like the man, but he suddenly is questioning himself with Lucian. It's like he doesn't know what to make of it. He's caught off guard. That's cool. That's really good. Like, how do you counter that? And he tried at Ring of Honor, but I mean, he had to bring a weapon to do it, and it didn't matter. So,
right.
What when you see Full Moon Massacre, what do you think on that?
Man, I know that write-up is just going to be insane. Whatever happens, the chaos and the carnage is definitely going to that'll probably be one of my favorite write-ups of the night. Just so? Man, off a hand, it'll probably be one of mine. Just going out, just thinking about the two characters, and yeah, I think that'll probably be one of my favorites.
No pressure to me. That's all. That's fine. No,
all right.
We got excited when we realized what we could do with that, so that's going to be a lot of fun. We've got GM Red's birthday open challenge. Yes, Red, her birthday, the guy who plays Red, the character Red's birthday is WrestleMania weekend. So just like my birthday was supposed to be on Revolution, and was Super Showdown last year, it's Red's birthday and has an open challenge for WrestleMania. I don't know who it is. I do know who it is, but I don't remember, and I'm not going to tell you here. Obviously, I think. I'd have to look it up, so therefore I don't know, and I'm not going to look it up, so there. Red versus a mystery opponent. Vacant, according to the picture there. Open challenges always go well for people, right?
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of challenges, we have what was a normal one-on-one match, RGX versus Rate Wrestle, has become a submission match with these two. And I said before, this was going to be a very violent one based on just the pure physicality. Very Canadian in its way. But now it's a submission match, which is probably the only stipulation a Canadian title match could have, I'd feel, but we'll see. It really depends on how that goes. This could be Ray Wrestles to win, but I'm looking at RGX here. He needs a turnaround, and he's going to finally get his hands on this guy. That might be it. I'm excited for that, because this has been building since the Rumble with some miscommunications. Again, very long-term situation here with what we've got.
By the way, if they don't know the rules of it, make sure to look that up, because you don't want to be that guy.
Submission match rules. So your 1 pointer is your submission. So if you put 1 point, say, on Roman Reigns, and he loses, you've lost your match. You tapped out because you lost your 1 pointer. Now, it's at the end of the night, but still happens. So put your 1 pointer on what you're most sure of, because that's the one you will not tap to. Or, I mean, you might be wrong, but all the rules and stuff are in the Discord.
It's the first one to get their 1 pointer wrong, right? Like,
yeah.
If they both get them right, then it goes to points.
Right. So that said, say RGX picks Roman Reigns, and that's obviously the main event of night 2, right? So he put 1 point on Daniel Bryan. Ray Wrestle puts 1 point on Apollo Crews winning. And say that's, I forget even where it is. It's night 1. No, Braun versus Shane's night 1. Let's go with that. Braun versus Shane is night 1. And Braun is who Ray Wrestle picks. And Shane wins. He just got his 1 pointer wrong. Match over. He tapped out. We don't even need to wait for the other one, because that happened. I say that. Maybe we do wait. I don't remember. But it's not simultaneous, so he just lost. He tapped out. Period. The rest of it doesn't matter. You don't even get the points for the rest. The match is over. So you might have a score of quite literally like 3-5. And that's it. Even though you got like your 10-pointer correct, you're done. Your match is over, including bonuses. So heads up on that. But as long as you get it, you won. In submission matches, I mean, bear with me and you, I've never beaten you in one. Ever. It's an all impact, but we'll get there eventually, right?
It's true.
Yeah,
hopefully.
We'll see. Speaking of eventuallys, Junction finally gets his hands on Jonathan C.T. Martin. 1-on-1. No stipulation, no nothing, just straight up, here they go. Again, this one's been building for longer than the FPL, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Do you think he's going to slide? I mean, he's turning around, so he's going to start a new slide here or keep going up?
I think... I can't believe it. I think CT's going to win. I think he's going to beat Junction.
I think you might be right on that one. We'll see. We've also got Death Money Inc. facing The Reaction. Kano Mac and the Arbiter versus Luke Gray and Tino. I almost said 1-on-1. 2-on-2. We have LJ facing Mad Elite Titan, and not rounding out, there's more, forgive me. Lexi Briggs and Spinks facing Wookie and CM Carlito. We've got Smooth Rock facing Sebastian Escobar, one of your favorites. And then we have the 20-man Battle Royal, which is Bastion and 19 others, which will be decided through a draw based on some records and math that we're going to work out on an upcoming War Room between basically now and next week. So you'll know that. But if you're in the Battle Royal, you'll do double duty. Don't worry about that. Like, it's not like that's your only WrestleMania match. You might win twice. BeerMe knows all about that from last year's WrestleMania.
Yep.
The winner of the Battle Royal will go on towards that path of the other half of SummerSlam. Just that's so you know. That's where that comes in. And then there's more matches after that. On the kickoff, that is. I'm going to say right now, I'm looking forward to all of this. It all looks awesome. It all looks fun. And I absolutely need to go in there and get my match taken care of. So I'm going to have a promo probably in a couple days to make something happen, because I need to be on this card. And no, I'm not facing red. We're not watching from afar again.
No. Yeah, right. You're not watching from afar.
No. We'll figure something out with that one. I think a message was sent, so I think I'm going to send back an answer. I think that's the way to go. But I think BeerMe, I think we're good. I've talked most of this. Forgive me. Do you have any other thoughts on Ring of Honor or WrestleMania as we wrap up and head towards the big showcase of the Immortals itself?
No, it's going to be a killer show, though. It's going to be great.
If you want to follow along and hear us scream and shout and yell and cry, check out our Discord. It is the Frontline Prediction League. It's going to be all linked down below. You can watch us. You can't watch us, but you can hear us as we watch TakeOver and NXT and Raw and SmackDown and probably Hall of Fame and everything. We're always in there checking stuff out. We're going to watch Bloodsport at some point during all this beer me. That's on the 8th, I think, so that's going to be in there also. Follow that stuff. Like, favorite, subscribe. You can follow us again. Top League Our Pod. Follow that one too. Frontline League is the Wonders Prediction League. I'm forgetting. I'm tired. Like and favorite this YouTube video and subscribe and you won't miss any. You'll be good to go. But clearly, I need to wrap this up. So thanks again, everybody. Have a good night.